So the noise cancellation on these earbuds, I've heard so many people complain about the quality of the noise cancellation, saying that it's not very effective and it doesn't eliminate the background noise. However, in my testing, I found the noise cancellation to be fantastic. Regardless of vocal tones or background noise, it really does help eliminate that sort of, if you're on an aeroplane, the engine noise, for example, if you're on a train, the train rails, it really does eliminate that noise. And it does it as well as any of the bigger brands, if not better. I was expecting to be disappointed in this area with these earbuds, however I wasn't. I think it's really effective and it doesn't compromise the quality of your music and it doesn't fill your ears with pressure, which can be issues with some of these earbuds. You do also have transparency mode that basically projects any external noise in, like voices, and yeah, this works absolutely fine too. The adaptive noise cancellation is really smooth. You don't sort of hear any changes or any frequency changes that does often happen when you are changing these modes between devices, as well as devices compatible with each other's brands. So for example, if you're using a Huawei phone with Huawei earbuds, the noise cancellation does seem slightly better. However, if you then use them Huawei earbuds with a different brand of smartphone, it actually does compromise the quality of the noise cancellation as well as the sound quality. However, I've had no issues with these earbuds in any other devices. So the fit and finish to start with, and the design. Oh dear, I'm not a fan. I can hold this up to the camera, hopefully you can see it. I'll do some B-roll shots as well, so of course you can get a better look at these earbuds. I'm not a fan of the design. I don't like the case. I don't know if you can hear this, I'll hold it to the microphone. But these are, literally a couple of weeks old. They've been well protected, haven't been dropped or anything like that. And the case just feels super cheap and super low quality. And again, on some earbuds that cost £30 or £40, I'd excuse this. However, at £160, this just isn't. In terms of sound quality of these, sound quality unfortunately is decisive. So I'm not gonna say they sound bad, because they don't. There's a lot of thought and a lot of sort of effort and R&D has gone into tuning these earbuds. I can tell that straight away. They do have dual driver support as well, so it does focus a lot on different elements of each track you're listening to, and it really tries to separate each instrument. However, in practice and in my listening at least, I find that's not the case. I don't like how these are equalised on any of the settings, as well as doing a custom equaliser in the app. However, I must say the app is very good. Really easy to use and really simple. However, just how they sound, there's not enough bass in it for me. And I do find that there's slight distortion at sort of higher volume levels, especially in the right earbud. I don't know if it's a fault with my unit or whether it's, just in general, because when you do get sort of past that sort of higher frequency noises, it just doesn't sound as crisp as you want it to. I don't know if it's a case of they're not using carbon drivers. I do like it when earbuds use carbon drivers. I do find that it's slightly more crisp and there's less distortion. However, with these earbuds, they just don't sound particularly great in any genres, in my opinion. But to the everyday listener, I'm sure they'll be really satisfied and really impressed with the sound quality. Battery life has been fantastic. I've got around 30 hours of usage with noise cancellation turned on. And that's with the case included as well. So we're looking at about sort of 8 hours to 9 hours worth of usage, which I think is absolutely excellent for some earbuds. And the case does have wireless charging as well as wired charging. So you have all the features here that you would expect. You've got support for LDAC and high-res audio. But again, that's nothing new anymore in 2025. Most earbuds offer this, and most earbuds should offer this, especially earbuds at £160. My final opinion on the Xiaomi BUDS 5 Pro. Unfortunately for me, avoid these earbuds. Look at something much cheaper like the Nothing earbuds or the CMF earbuds, or even some other premium rivals like the Huawei FreeBuds 4 Pro. They might not have such separation in the soundtrack as these, however overall they sound a lot better, a more crisp and clear sound throughout every vocal range. Unfortunately, £160 as well. These are far too expensive. The build quality is not very good. The design is not refined enough. And unfortunately, the after sales and returns policy of Xiaomi also isn't as good as these rivals. So, hope you liked the video. Let me know your experience if you've used these earbuds before.